It was just about 1 year ago when the lives of people across the metro changed quickly. You'll remember the Big 12 men's basketball tournament ended abruptly, and what is usually a huge weekend for downtown ended up looking like more of a ghost town. Today, we took a look back at the headlines from exactly 1 year ago on March 8th, 2020. On that day, Kansas and Missouri each knew of one case of coronavirus. In Missouri, it was a woman in St. Louis. In Kansas, a woman from Johnson County who was diagnosed the day before. Meanwhile, a Riley County, Kansas man has done a fair amount of looking back. He was the first case of COVID-19 in his county. 41 Action News reporter Jordan Betts shows us what he's doing now to provide perspective on what we've all been through.
At the end of that 10 days, things started to feel like something wasn't quite right.
K-State professor Andrew Smith, his family, and some of his students were in London this time last year for a study abroad trip, a trip that would change his life.
So we got out on one of the last flights headed out of Europe to get back to the United States. At the time, I wasn't feeling very well, and my family wasn't feeling great.
He asked friends to leave a car at the airport because the family planned to quarantine the second they land.
Literally that night, we pulled into the driveway, and as I'm pulling the luggage out of the car, I started coughing so badly that I have to take a knee.
The family then went to the ER and were all tested for COVID.
3 days later, after struggling at home, even just to breathe and with fevers up in 103, close to 104, we finally got the test back as a positive for me.
Smith then became the first person in Riley County to test positive for the virus. Doctors then admitted him to the hospital. To help calm some fears, he decided to make this video while in the hospital room.
As we came back into the United States, that we did every single thing that we could to make sure that we contacted 0 people.
Around the same time, the University of Kansas Health System gets their first patient. Monday, doctors reflected on what they discovered this past year.
We've learned about new science in medicine. We've learned about new safety protocols and procedures which have worked well to keep our patients safe, our employees safe.
And so is Smith. He is tweeting each day of what he did exactly a year ago in hopes people see his story and get perspective on these long 12 months.
And now I'm just hoping that as I kind of tell that story, that people will look back at their own story and say, this was either fortunate for me that we've survived it, that we've gotten this far, or at least can look back and say, what have we learned?
Jordan Betts, 41 Action News.